Hi there, welcome to Leeds Lobby.
Welcome
We're just
back.
doing a little bit of a late video. Dan's been to the youth group, been playing football, and I've been just out for a coffee with his mum. Before we go any further, we're just going to talk about Raphinha. We're also going to talk a little bit about Gakpo and what we can expect in the coming weeks. But before we do that, obviously, you know the score. Please, there are many people watching these videos. Please like the videos, but also by all means subscribe. It's a great encouragement to see those figures going up. So if you could just support us as a channel, that would be amazing. But let's get into the content. I mean, we've just watched Joe, who gave us a shout out earlier in the week. If you're watching, thanks very much, Joe. And his reaction is much the same as mine. For somebody who's I'm a little bit older. Yeah. There is that enmity with Chelsea, and it does all boil down to that.
It always kicks off when we play Chelsea. No, last season at the 3-2 this season there was a big fight.
And obviously there's a little bit of a Lampard connection, which is more recently, because I would have loved to see Everton go down. I can't stand Frank Lampard. But it is also that Chelsea connection, and we've gone from a point where we thought they might even have been going out of business to a point where
Raphinha.
somebody that's a club legend that is somebody that for us for this last couple of seasons has been, I say he's a club legend is a bit much. He's been immense in terms of keeping us up.
We move on, and now we go into Sterling.
Yeah, but just now seeing him go across to Chelsea. Out of those clubs that were in for him, I would have preferred to see him go to a Newcastle or somebody like that. I could have stomached that.
Arsenal would have been. Arsenal's like the bar, really.
Arsenal would have been all right, but Arsenal would have been a little bit of a sickener on account of the fact that they came in with that low ball offer, which I think was probably insulting, but also because they'd been going somewhere where there were no Champions League football.
But Champions League football isn't guaranteed at Chelsea next season. They had a poor last half of the season. Obviously, they thrashed us 3-0. But it wasn't after thrashers at that point.
I think for me, while ever it was Arsenal that were leading the pack, it didn't look like he was going to leave the club. And I think for me, that is because there were just too many things against it. I mean, the first thing is obviously we're not 100% sure how he would fit in there. Bearing in mind they've already got players who play that position. And in a World Cup year, that's not a good place to be for Raphinha. Knowing that he actually probably wanted to go to Barcelona, probably more than he actually wants to leave Leeds. I think Deco's got a lot to answer for as the agent, who's basically tarted him out like a blooming pimp, really, quite frankly. I think when Arsenal were in for him, it never looked like he were going to go there, because he was going to tie himself down to a 4-year contract where that would prevent him to go into Barcelona. And I know for Deco, he were at Barcelona, he's at Chelsea. For me, from Deco's point of view, he'll been whispering in like just Joe said, he'd have been whispering in his ear, saying, I've been at this club. He's got connections at the club. Yeah. But oh man, Chelsea, it's just
so unexpected as well. Like 1 minute it's Barcelona, then it's Arsenal, and then all of a sudden, like yesterday, the news broke that Chelsea was coming in for him. And now today they've just come in for him and just decided we're going to pay full price.
I mean, this last week I've been kind of getting to a point where I've been thinking maybe he's going. Maybe now. I mean, he's from his point of view, whispering in his ear, he's going to be on a really enhanced contract. He's going to be playing with some really cracking players. He's going to be going straight into the Champions League in a World Cup year, to the Champions League, winners, and no, not the winners, but they did win it. They did win it, 2 seasons ago, but not the most recent winners. But again, a club that's almost guaranteed top 4, and in an amazing squad. Yeah. And from his point of view, he's going to be still in the Premier League, which he knows. He's going to be moving to London.
He's going to be playing with obviously his Brazil teammates like Thiago Silva.
These are all things that really sell a move to Chelsea. I mean, I always talk about players, and when you think about clubs like Norwich and even Nottingham Forest, how do you you can put somebody on 50, 60, 70 grand a week, but quite frankly, if you're on 50, 60, 70 grand a week, what is there to do in Norwich? What are you going to do with that amount of money in Norwich if you lived in Norwich? It takes about 8 hours to get to Norwich from anywhere. It takes 8 hours to get to Norwich from next village over. if you were in Nottingham, what is there to do in Nottingham, really? I mean, you've got Birmingham, which is like an hour and a half away. But how are you going to attract players, really? Unless you're doing a flyover because they're going to go somewhere else. When you're in Chelsea, players want to play for Chelsea. They want to live in Chelsea. Their missuses want to live in Chelsea because there's stuff you can do in Chelsea. Let's be frank about it. Leeds is an amazing city. I love Leeds. We don't have a problem attracting players to Leeds, much the same way as Manchester as a city is a great city, but Liverpool's a good city. But Leeds is amazing. But Chelsea is just where they want to be, and I just feel sickening because I know, like other people are gonna say, it's kind of ruined his legacy a little bit. I'm not gonna be able to take pleasure in watching him play, and it'd be a little bit like it's our boy, and it's not. Like Calvin Phillips is people are saying he's gone to Manchester and that's this, that, and the other. But mate, it ain't. He's like the enemy of your enemy is your friend. As long as he don't go scum. Yeah. And it's been amazing watching Scum this last year, and they're like actually wanting Man City to win because winning games because they don't want Liverpool to win. And you can just poke fun at him and say, look, you're two biggest rivals.
We're battling out for the title.
Battling out for the title.
For Conference League.
And what's the best number 8 in the world? It's not even Man U. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. And here we go with this situation. What is interesting me is the fact that it's literally 2 hours. We've got announcements about Gakpo that make it look like we're going to get him.
Catalan.
And that's coming out 2 hours before this announcement about Raphinha, and it's almost like it's been stage managed from the club's point of view. We're going to get this good news out to brace everybody for this bad news, because those at the top end, Radrizzani must know. He's been to the games. He must know. So what goes on from here on? I mean,
I think we get 65 million. So if we just take a base value of 65 million, then you could probably sign Gakpo for 40 million. And there's your replacement for Raphinha, and then either go for a cut. Yeah, all right, let's take 45 million for Phillips and 65 million. So let's just say we've got 100 million from both players, yeah. So you got 100 million. You spend 40 million on Gakpo. You then as a replacement for Raphinha. Otavio's good, but he's 27, and Gakpo looks like a similar profile player at a younger age. Netherlands international, great player. Played Europa League football, played in Europe. So you sign Gakpo for 40 million, you've got 60 million left. You bring in a Sander Berger for 25 million because that is his release clause. That's what Paul Heckingbottom said is his release clause. So you've then spent, you've spent 65 million. So then you've matched the money you've spent for Raphinha on Gakpo and Berger. You could then, I would personally go in for a Mo Kamara. Obviously Tyler Adams looks like it's been blown out of the water now because of the John Kevin Augustin saga. There's a few things you can buy. There's a few, obviously Otavio would be a great signing. Liverpool have come out and said that they're not actually that bothered about signing him, so that gives us a big boost.
And we're essentially improving every area of the squad there. So, and the other thing with the Chelsea money is it's mainly money up front, and that's important. That allows us to go out and spend. And we've literally got now 14, 15. Well, I think they go to Australia on the 10th. So, really we want our new signings to be in and in those squads for those friendlies when we get to Australia, so we can have a decent pre-season, which is not what we had last year, which is again another problem we had last year. We didn't hit the ground with any kind of momentum. We want to get these players bedded in and training together. So, I mean, there is a silver lining in that regard if the business gets done. So what would be interesting is if the Raphinha announcement is actually made and things are finalised before Calvin Phillips, because that's still even not even been signed yet. So that's also quite interesting. So I mean,
on TalkSport they were saying Fulham a few seasons back, like they came up and they spent loads of money, they sold all their players and they bought in a completely new squad, and there was no cohesion. Now what we've done is we've bought in 3 players who Marsh knows well, who we've done our research into, and who will fit our system. It's someone's joked today saying that Aronson and Christensen have warned the squad about how fit Jesse Marsh is going to keep him. Like Bielsa had them living at Thorpe Arch. Bielsa had built apartments around the training ground so that they could live there.
I think you can't beat Bielsa ball from that point of view. So again, going into the season, I am still approaching the season with a sense of optimism. If Raphinha's, I mean, again, one thing that terrifies me is Raphinha coming up against Firpo in a Chelsea versus Leeds game.
Coming up against Harrison on the other end.
Yeah, and you know what? I am just putting it out there now. If we sell Harrison as well in this window, I'm done.
If we sell Harrison, then.
But you know, if we sell Harrison as well in this window, I think for me, I think I'm going to struggle to see what's going on at Leeds United. We've sold our best 2 players. We've got good money for them, and we did have a lack of strength in depth last year. We had a lot of players starting that were a carryover from the Championship that did well in the first season when there was no crowds, but then seemed to struggle. And I think for me, strengthening the squad was more important. We're in kind of project top 10 really next season, and we weren't going to do that with the squad as it was. So that's where I'm at. Not looking forward to seeing him pull on a Chelsea shirt if he does pull on a Chelsea shirt. I'd much rather see him leave the country and go to Barcelona. But for me, again, we've lost our 2 best players. It's vitally important we now go on and sign another 3 or 4.
It's really important who we're bringing in now.
And we need a world class, or certainly somebody who's got potential to become a world class player. Somebody who's a really top notch player. We've lost 2 good players.
Yeah, that's what Rafinha was. We brought him in as these players. As Connor said at One Leeds, these players were projects. Rafinha was a project. Firpo was a project. People were going on, and let's just say Chelsea are getting a hell of a player here. They are getting a hell of a player. There's no doubt. He's performed.
Yeah.
While he's had Jamie Shackleton crossing over him on the wing, and he's been playing it to the midfield to Matthias Klick, and he's been whipping it into the box to Dan James. And he's performed.
We've had Arsenal fans on wacky backy saying that Saka's better than Raphinha. Saka's not even England's first choice right wing, and Raphinha will get into any Brazil side right now. So we lost a good player. We've got good money for that good player. Let's make sure we make some wise signings now. Let's not be in a situation where we have a poor transfer.
We'll do a video about these signings at some point.
Because as we speak now, without bringing anybody else in, if we lose those 2 players, even for that value, Radrizan is making a huge profit, but we will not be turning over a positive in this transfer window unless we go on now and bring in 3 or 4 really top quality players. Thanks for listening to the video.
See you
thanks
next
for your
time.
support. Please make sure if you've not subscribed to do so, because there are many people watching these videos that aren't subscribing, and we will speak to you on the next one.
See ya.